So why is meditation a wonderful practice for all of us to engage in? First of all, it strengthens the willpower, the ability to have insight as to where we want to go, what our values and beliefs are, and to align those so that our vision and then our actions and our follow through take us in the direction that we want to go, instead of just letting life be a river that pushes us in a variety of directions. We become the ones who govern our lives, and that cultivation of will and strength and inner willpower is deepened by our ability to sit and govern our own being. And from there, we are able to have the effects of that echo out into our lives in all capacities. So the other thing that it allows us to do is it allows us to strengthen our discrimination power. Now, discrimination power is that ability to really differentiate, what is real and what is false within our lives, and also within ourselves, what we want to give energy to and what we perhaps don't want to waste our energy on. Now, in the modern world, this is a very good skill to cultivate when we have all these offerings of things that maybe don't feed our body and soul, all that myriad of distractions that are offered to us through the media, through advertising, all this sort of false seduction that can be alluring for the non-discriminating mind. So when we bring back the ability to discriminate well through strengthening that power in meditation, then we find we have more energy available for the things that do feed our beings, that do feed our spiritual, emotional and physical well-being and the well-beings of those in our lives. So the other thing that meditation does is that it increases our intuition. So intuition, that ability to use that inner tuition, that inner teacher. And how can we tap that inner teacher if we're giving no space to listen to that inner teacher? So when we sit and when we meditate, we actually start to hear that more. We start to hear our inner being speaking to us. And we also start to develop the ability to sense and feel the body more, so that when our body is speaking to us, so that when those higher aspects of self are trying to communicate with us about a good direction for our life to flow in, or worthwhile action, then we actually can feel it and sense it and hear it when we fine-tuned that subtlety. So the other thing that meditation provides us is emotional sovereignty or emotional intelligence. We live on a time and planet where that is so important and vital. Not only is it with maybe parenting and managing our children, there are these little emotional roller coasters. I know, I've got two of them, high energy, constantly traversing a landscape of different emotions. Also the feminine body is, has a vast emotional landscape. And so some of the benefits of meditating is that we actually gain more directive on our emotional bodies. That doesn't mean we control our emotions as such, in a controlling sense. It actually means that we have greater governing, like a queen would with her sovereignty, or a king might with his sovereignty, so handled with care and love and foresight. And we get to feel and give space to those emotions to move through us in our meditation practice. So we're not pushing them under the carpet, we're just giving space for them to breathe and be felt and alchemized. So the other thing that meditation is amazing for is in awakening our latent potential, thoughts, ideas, capacities within us that we didn't know were there until we took the time to strengthen that inner world that actually can communicate with us through our meditation, through our dream time, through our space of being in a receptive space so that we can actually channel and feel those, awakened parts of us moving through and opening. On a very practical level, meditation improves memory, and it also improves our creative mind. It allows us to think laterally, not just literally. So the masculine principle is very much, from this place to that place, lateral. The feminine mind is a holistic thinking and thinks sideways in all directions, forward and back. And the creative mind is so helpful in the modern world for navigating problems, for creating entrepreneurial activities. We need to be very well resourced in a world that's changing all the time, and there's no security and fixed outcomes and destinations at this time. So, one of the most important skills that we can develop is that ability to think laterally and creatively. Now, meditation does provide that, and the reason it provides that is because when we sit in our wholeness, we are practicing our seeing in front, behind, sideways, all encompassing into all parts of us and into our energy bodies in a different way from when we're task focused and we're only focusing on what we're trying to achieve and do and make and create. So the other thing that meditation will assist with, which relates to what I just mentioned, is problem solving. When we can think laterally, we actually can decode problems that in our literal mind weren't previously available. So wonderful meditation is for enhancing sleep and relaxing physically the physical body as well as the emotional body, just taking that rough edge off, just letting the body breathe, letting the cells relax and rejuvenate. It teaches us how to come home to ourselves in a world which, can be very disruptive, lots of energies, lots of influences, lots of instability. This is how through meditation, we learn how to ground, how to anchor, how to come home. We learn how to wash our energy clean, and that has an incredibly rejuvenating effect. It actually increases our radiance. People who meditate regularly are known to look more youthful. I have friends who are in their 60s that you would think are in their 40s. I'm in my 40s, and often people say that I seem like I'm in my 30s. This has happened in every decade of my life, actually. So, I've seen the evidence of how meditation can really create that inner illumination, that radiance, because really what it's doing is it's tapping into our inner light, and that inner light can't help but come through and be visible through our physical bodies also. So one of the most important things I found that meditation does is align us to our values. And again, we can be very buffeted by the influence of others, but meditation brings it home, brings it back to myself, and to the practice of, what is it that I connect to? What do I align to? What are my values? And how do I want to live from that space? The meditation is used and has been used for time immemorial for healing practice. So that is self-healing. There's been many studies done on how it benefits the immune system, how you can really have a very positive effect on health problems and imbalances in the body. It's been my experience that meditation actually helps to align the elemental energies of the body. So if there's too much fire in the psyche or in the body that's sort of burning through and leaving an imbalance in the body or in the personality, it can actually soothe and create a coolness to that fire. But likewise, if there's too much earth or too much water, fluid, emotional energy, it can give the grounding that we might need. or the ether that we might need, the alivening and the lifting and the, it might bring more of the spark or warmth of the fire in if there's a lot of sort of stagnancy. So yeah, I've witnessed that, and from a Chinese medicine perspective, which I'm also trained in, I'm a trained acupuncturist and shiatsu therapist. I have observed that a good meditation, can be like receiving a really good acupuncture treatment. So it activates, different energy centers in the body, which allows the qi and the movement of energy to flow with more fluidity and health. So meditation can also be used for the healing of others. And a beautiful thing to do is to dedicate your meditation practice for the health and well-being of all beings on the planet. You can also direct that to particularly loved ones in your life, or even people that you're having challenges with. It's definitely been my experience that you can change relationship dynamics simply through your own meditation practice and through the dedication of that healing energy to the awakening of others as well as oneself. So the other thing that I feel is really important in today's world is to have a meditation practice that creates refuge. And what I mean by that is a place where we can go, where we feel we can restore and find ourselves and connect and speak with ourselves, a place of refuge, quite literally, where we can retreat and be and replenish and rejuvenate before we move out into the world. So refuge can also relate to the other non-self energies that we can choose to connect to: source energy, universal energy, Mother Earth energy. Creating a space of meditation gives us that opportunity to connect to those cosmic, alchemical energies also, and invite them into one's life. The other thing that I'd like to speak about is how, probably the last thing I want to say about why one might choose to bring in a meditation practice is because it really is one of the only ways that we get to really experience what our original nature is. So what that means is we develop all these sort of egoic responses to survive in the world, things that may have been deficient in our early years. We develop survival strategies, ways of behaving that are designed for us to call in our needs and get our needs met. They may have been helpful in the time that they were created, but inevitably manipulation of others' energies and energies around us is not going to fulfill us long term. We need to find a way that we can actually tap that source inside of us so that we can get those needs met. And I have found meditation practice one of the best ways of doing that, because it returns us to our original nature, our nature that is peaceful, that is love, full of light, full of curiosity and wonder, that is, has an essence of joy before those other experiences were overlaid over the top of our original nature. So in Buddhism they call this the Buddha nature, the original nature of all the beings. So this is an invaluable practice. These are some of the many, many reasons that you may choose to meditate. This video went for a little longer than I was expecting, but the reasons just kept flowing, and I'm sure there's many, many more that I haven't yet talked about. But let this, be an incentive to keep you on your practice. If things get a bit challenging, come back to lesson 1. Remind yourself of why you're doing this practice, why you're deepening your practice, or why you're learning this art at a time when you may feel really busy. This is important. It is so, so worth your while to practice and to invite in the art of meditation. So I wish you well, and we will move on to session 2.